welcome to The Photography Guy. I'm your host, The Photography Guy. Let's get started here with another great photo show. Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Photography Guy. This is episode number 56 for Sunday morning, May the 25th, 2014. I'm your host, Jack, and I'm going to help guide you through this magical world of photography and all things greatness with it there. Today we're going to be digging into and talking about a lot of great stuff, but first let me get started by thanking you for joining me here on a Sunday morning to learn more about your camera and making great photographs. Please check out the website if you haven't done so already at thephotographyguy.net, where you can comment on all these shows, and I wish you did. We don't receive a lot of comments on the photography shows. Feedback is always a great thing, and we don't get a lot of feedback on these shows. Some, but not as much as I would like. Also, you can listen, or if you're listening to this audio podcast, you can also check out our video. We record this in HD video, and we put that on YouTube, and you can find it at 42, the number 4, the number 2, Technoman. Please visit our new learning site. A lot of you have gone over there. If you go over to this learning site, if you sign up for an account, I would expect that you're going to sign up and pay for the lessons. Please don't go up and sign over it's a paid site. You have to pay money to be on it. So don't go over and just sign up just thinking you're going to get something free, because there's nothing free on that site. It's jtclearning.com. jtclearning.com. And it's basically an online college, and you wouldn't walk into a college classroom, open door and sit down in a seat and say, "Hello, I'm here." It doesn't work that way. So we have some people out there signing up and then never taking the course, and then I have to go in and delete them, and it's a real pain for me to do that. So once again, jtclearning.com for $40. Learn everything there is to know about Photoshop Elements 12 right now, and there's going to be a lot of other really good courses on there. So check it out, and at jtclearning.com. You can also join our Facebook group. Many of you have. If you're a spammer, hacker, salesman, a fly-by-night junkie or something, don't join Jack's Tech Corner Facebook group. If anybody on the group noticed last week, somebody joined, it looked like it was a photographer. Next thing you know, they're selling sunglasses on my website. Don't join if you're going to sell stuff. It's not a place to sell. It's a place to enjoy photography, talk to others about photography, and enjoy each other's company and enjoy each other's work. So those are just some don'ts, and not the people currently watching the live stream. You guys are perfect, and you're here all the time. But you do get those bots out there and those spammers. And, oh, man, what a nightmare for me trying to keep that stuff cleaned up. So anyway, today we're going to say good morning to our chat room crew there. We have Zach in there. Good morning, Zach. Good morning to Brian, Fabian, and Vicky, and the other few in there that's not in the chat room. Please, we encourage you to join the chat room to get in there and chit-chat in the mornings. It doesn't hurt to chit-chat. You know, we don't take any grades away for misspelling or anything. We will figure out what you're trying to say. If you type slow, that's okay. Type it slow, look at it, spell check it, and then hit enter, and it gets posted into the chat room. So the chat room is about 80%, of all things greatness there. So, all right. I do have to say I'm kind of sorry there. Well, I am sorry, not kind of. Just say I'm sorry there for not having a show last week. This show, and good morning to Vicky there. Just seen you in there too. I don't know if I covered you there earlier. But this show is very, very difficult to do. The process of coming up with show ideas is very difficult. But last week I had to go out of town. I had no choice, and we were leaving at 10 o'clock in the morning, right at showtime. So I had to pack up the car and head on down the road. We went to the Amish country, a place called Lancaster. Some people call it Lancaster, and not even Lancaster, like Lancaster. I don't even know who says that. Somebody that lived there said that's how they pronounce it, and I think it's morally wrong not to put the N in there. It's Lancaster, Lancaster, not Lancaster. What the heck is that, French for Lancaster? Is it French for Amish people? I don't know. Anyway, I told you I would be taking some photographs and bringing those back to you here on the show to show you some of my work and some of the great stuff I did. Well, when we did get a chance to go out in the car, we went to dinner one night. We decided to drive the countryside and look for some Amish folks. Now, if you've never visited the Amish, you know that they are a very simplified people. They live their life very simply by using horses and horse-drawn machinery. So we found a ton of people out plowing fields, baling hay, and planting, and it was very interesting to see that. And when I went to grab my camera, guess what? You're right. The camera was actually stuck back in the room. I left it in the hotel room. Forgot all about bringing it, and that is just kind of what happens. And so I took a couple with my cell phone, but I'm not going to share that because they're cell phone pictures and they're not that great. But that is what happened last week. And by the time we did, I was going to record a show later on Sunday night. But by the time we got there and we registered for the conference and we had the dinner at the conference, then the keynote speaker, you know how that goes. They talked for 2 hours. I was exhausted with the drive and everything. So I just went back to the room and went to bed. And so I didn't get a chance to record anything last week. Anyway, so we are back this week and we are here and you're tuning in. You want to talk about something about photography. What I thought I would talk about this week, being this is the time of year, and I know this is the time of year when I first got approached to shoot a wedding. And somebody said, Jack, we know you kind of like cameras and we know you kind of have a digital camera or something. And we want to know if you'll take our wedding pictures. Well, I wanted to learn and I thought, well, this would be an ample time to do that. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll take your wedding pictures. No problem whatsoever. Wow. What a problem that turned out to be. Taking wedding pictures is not taking pictures, right? Somehow, you can't even rephrase that because that's true. Taking wedding pictures is way far disjointed, disconnected from what you know about photography. We know about photography. We can set the scene up. We can look at our lighting. We can add lighting, subtract lighting. We could do all that great stuff we've learned about over the course of these podcasts and these videos. But you can't take away from things such as, I call it Bridezilla, Momzilla. Dads are cool. Dads just want to write the check. They just want to get the day over with. Get the day over with and get going. That's what the dad wants to do. And if he has to be in some pictures, he'll smile, say cheese. He'll smile. And but mom, and brides, very hard. I've done wedding photography for a few years now. We've done low budget weddings and we've done high budget weddings. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes too. I think that's going to be very important for today's show. But the first thing I want to talk to you about a little bit anyway is about gear and what kind of gear you need. And this is what really was bad for me when I first started doing wedding photography. When that first person, a family member, came and said, Jack, can you do our wedding pictures? And I said, sure, why not? I could do your wedding pictures. And that is the first, probably the first mistake because I had no experience, no idea. I didn't buy any of the books that I own now, and I'll tell you a couple of the books that I actually purchased that helped to do wedding photography. But in the end, you're going to need some gear. And the first thing you're going to need is naturally a digital camera, right? That's going to help you along. Now, you can use film if you're brave. Digital camera is the best bet, so you can do some chimping. Now, if you've never seen chimping before, that's when we snap a picture and we look at the back of the screen. We snap a picture and we look at the back of the screen. That is called chimping. Now, if you've never chimped before, you will chimp a lot during weddings. Because guess what you don't get at a wedding? You don't get a second chance. Weddings are straightforward and they're straight in there. I would rather do senior portraits all day. Matter of fact, I'm trying to shift my business model now to doing only senior portraits. And I was asked at a local school to do all the school photography for sporting teams, all the athletics, all the band stuff, and the musicals and all that stuff. So if I can get into that realm, I may in fact do that. The guy that they did have actually retired, and it looks like that's a possibility where I might be able to move in and do some of that. Or maybe I'll go in with somebody else and have two different people doing this different photography stuff. Now, With that said, let's go back to our wedding photography we were talking about. So first thing you need is a good digital camera. And the second thing, and you probably don't have this stuff, and don't lose sleep over it, but if I did it again, the first thing I would buy, I did my first one with a Fujifilm camera. Now, a Fujifilm camera, and it was what was known as a hybrid DSLR. So a hybrid DSLR camera, what that is basically just a camera that the lens is permanently attached. That's a hybrid. It was a Fujifilm. Very nice camera, and it took really, really good pictures. The downside of it is it didn't take an external flash, so I couldn't use a speed light. The other downside to the whole camera ordeal was there was really no way to, well, there's definitely no way to change lenses. So that was the two downsides. Now, the upside of the camera was it was very simplistic. But the first thing I would recommend you do is make sure you have a camera, either a Canon, Nikon, or Sony, whatever camera, that uses interchangeable lenses. That is the first thing you want to do. The second thing you want to be able to do is buy yourself a 50mm lens. We've talked about that a lot on the show. I've showed you a lot on the show, the 50mm lenses. And those are the lenses that will allow you to use very low light and still get a very, very fast shutter speed. The very first, I'll just back this up a little bit. The very first bokeh tossing that I did, the bokeh kind of went up and then everything was a blur. Because my camera didn't have a fast shutter. It didn't work well in low light, and it really, really didn't work well at all in the high ISO settings that, we would like it to work in. So anyway, those are the key things you have to worry about. The next thing that I would suggest you have is a speed light. Even if you buy a Yongnuo speed light, you are going to need additional lighting. The second wedding I did, we still didn't own any speed lights. Couldn't afford them. I mean, this gear is expensive. I didn't know about the Yongnuo stuff, and I was looking for the Nikon flash, but it's expensive, and I didn't have the money to buy it. What we did there was they had a videographer, and the videographer actually had a video light. All I would do is have that person turn the light in the direction I needed him, and he would hold that video light, and I had static lighting. It worked very well. I got some really, really nice shots. But you don't want to bother somebody all night with that, with static lighting and holding their video lights and stuff. So what you want to be able to do is have your own speed light. So there's the main gear in your gear bag. The camera with interchangeable lenses, a 50mm fixed lens. And the reason I said 50, 35 is nice and 85mm is really nice. The reason I said a 50mm prime lens is it's the cheapest. If you're going to get into this, you probably haven't done any weddings. And believe me, folks, weddings and senior portraits will pay for your camera gear. Let me say that again. Weddings and senior portraits will pay for your camera gear, and it will take care of your habit. Because let's face it, we are photography junkies. That's why you're up Sunday morning watching this show. And that's why you visit me every week. That's why people come and see the YouTube videos. Or that's why you're listening to this podcast, because we are photography junkies. We like taking pictures. We like taking good pictures. We like buying gear. That gear costs money. You need a way to support that habit and try to do it outside of your normal household budget. Because when I go to my wife and we talk and I say, look, I want to buy a lens. The next lens I'm looking at is a 150 by 600mm lens. And she said, how much is that? And I'd say, well, like $1,200. That seems like a lot of money. But if you just did a wedding last Saturday for $3,000, and it's really not a lot of money anymore, because now you're putting it into perspective. You're buying gear to put it back in. I would also suggest, if you are doing weddings, or if you are doing portraits, or anything that you are getting paid for, the one thing I would suggest to do is try to buy gear tailored to what you're doing. If you're buying backdrops or backgrounds, and let's say I did this, I made this mistake, and we'll get back to the wedding thing in a minute. I'm trying to guide you to the proper equipment to buy. But if in fact you actually are going to be a portrait photographer, now I don't own a big studio. But I bought a studio backdrop set, with the poles and the bars. What am I going to do with that? You're better off to think ahead a little bit and buy a portable backdrop, one that folds up. They fold up and they stick in a little pouch. You pull them out, and it's a 6x9 backdrop. Those are much nicer. I own a couple of those, and they are wonderful because I could take those to your house, and I could take pictures and make some money. If you're a female, this doesn't work too good for guys, but if you're a female, go out and take kid pictures, baby pictures. Moms love females. Another thing women love is they like these pregnancy shots now. This is a big thing. Again, we're getting a little bit off wedding, but I want you to make some money so you can buy some gear. So if you're a female, women don't tend to want men looking at their bare belly. I don't know why. I mean, it's photography for years, for decades, was a man's only thing. If you went into a studio, there was a man there taking pictures. But today, and I think it's wonderful, females are there. So females work really good with kids, and they work really good with brides and bridezillas, and they work really, really good with pregnant women. So there's a big outlet for you. So that is how we can purchase some gear. Now we're going to go over about 25 do's and don'ts of wedding photography. About 25 do's and don'ts of wedding photography. And we're going to start here. The first do is, the first thing you should do is be clear about your offering. Make sure the couple knows that you're shooting as a favor and that you can't guarantee results. This is key. Even on my contracts, it says, I guarantee no picture to 100% perfection, because people think that everything in life should be perfect. It is not. It is not perfect. One wedding, believe us or not, one wedding, and I felt really bad, but it does happen. I missed one of the money shots. One of the money shots would be the bride and groom kissing. Why in the world at a wedding? Why? You get married to somebody you truly love. You may now kiss the bride. That's what you get. What the heck? What is that, a peck? You just married this woman, or you just married this man. You get real fast, like, holy crap. One do I would tell you, definitely, before the wedding starts, you tell them, look, what I'm going to tell you to do is when they say you may kiss the bride and kiss the groom, turn, put your lips together, and pause. Because you have everybody in the audience trying to take that picture, and you get that. It's like, you got to be kidding. Really? Anyway. But that's one of my pet peeves. So I make sure I do that at a wedding. I tell them, look, when you turn, you pause. And we'll give you a couple other pointers there on the weddings when they're coming in the actual dining aisle. Another do is learn the basics. Now, this is really important. Learn the basics. Visit a lot of websites, and I would suggest, and a friend of mine said, Jack, why are you on Pinterest? That's kind of for girls. That's for women. Pinterest is amazing for photographers. It's amazing to learn poses. I talked to you a little bit earlier, and I said something about we talked a little bit about books to buy, and one book that I bought that truly helped me immensely is a book on poses. And it doesn't only do wedding poses and the normal wedding shots, and it also does poses as in telling you how to turn a face, because you can turn a face a certain way, and I'll have to pull that book out. Maybe we'll have one show one week, and we'll talk all about posing. But there's certain ways you can turn a face to make it thinner. You can move a woman's shoulders a certain way to make her side look thinner. Profile shots makes a lot of people look thinner. Not me, because I got a beer gut. Once you have a beer gut and you turn profile, you're going to have a beer gut. There's just no choice, no way you can look around that. So that is going to happen. But anyway, so posing is really, really, really important. And the next thing that you really got to know about that is, I can tell you with posing, is there's just stuff you're going to get. Never shoot one picture when you're doing formal wedding pictures. We had everybody in the altar one time, and I had grandma and grandpa, I took the picture. I was thinking, take one picture of each group of people. That will kill you in the end. It will kill you in the end. I took some time. I had to replace some people's eyes. And I took them obviously from another picture because their eyes were closed. So I cut their closed eyes out, and I replaced them with open eyes. And the guy had glasses on. It took me a lot of editing, but I did it. Now the rule is 3 shots for every single group of people. 3 shots. The next do is, or this could be even a don't. Let's say this is a don't. And what I'm going to tell you about don't is very, very simplistic. Don't ever take a picture, and I've probably told you this in the past. Don't ever take a picture of someone and say, smile, or say cheese. That is bullcrap. That's going to get you killed in the end. You don't say that. That is so ludicrous. If you're just starting off and maybe you're 9 years old and grandma just gave you a new camera, maybe then you can say cheese or smile, or you know what? My thing is get them laughing as much as you can. Joke around with them, make them feel comfortable. Tell them to look happy, not smile. I told my stepdaughter to smile one time. That's what I got all teeth. I don't want that. I don't want teeth. I want a nice, soft smile. Because if you get a lot of teeth, and if somebody in a wedding party smiles and maybe, they have a couple teeth missing, now you're going to be doing some dental work on your photos. And that's also not fun. I like just a nice little, curl up of the lips and just a nice little, not a Joker smile. Remember Joker and Batman? You don't want to do that. So that is a don't. Don't ever yell cheese or smile. Okay. Now, so look a lot online. Look for all kind of pictures online you're going to find. Try to assist an experienced wedding photographer. That I don't really know if that's the best thing. I don't really want people coming to with me unless I know it's a learning experience. Let's say if I'm going to maybe rent a church out and we're going to have a bridal photography class. I get my daughter and I get my son or somebody, and I put my son in a tux. I put my daughter in a wedding dress, and we take wedding pictures and we learn to do things, certain poses, certain ways. That I don't mind having somebody with, but I do not want an apprentice walking around with me when I'm shooting a wedding. I don't have time for it. I'm too busy. And by the end of the day, I am kicked in the butt. I can't do anymore. So I don't want somebody standing around me when I'm doing a wedding. So that's probably not a good thing to do. Plus, if you're working with somebody in your own town and they know you're going to be taking jobs away from them, they're probably not going to be too happy to help you out. Do pre-plan. Don't walk into a wedding thinking you can go with the flow. Weddings aren't like street photography where you can walk around taking pictures. So pre-planning is very important. When my wife goes out with me, when we go into the church, I always say, what time is the wedding going to start? If it's a 1 o'clock wedding, we are generally there by 11 o'clock. I want to walk around the church. I take my light meter out. I get light meter readings to kind of know where I'm at. I'll do custom white balances. I'll have my wife stand on the altar and we'll do a custom white balance, and I put that in my camera as a custom balance. We go outside because the limo is going to be outside. So I want to get a custom white balance outside. These are things you have to pre-plan and get ready. Don't just show up. If the wedding's at 2 and you show up at 1:45, I'm here. I got my camera. I'm ready to do some photography. You know what? If I was that wedding party, I would throw you out. I would throw you on the street. That's not when you come in to do the wedding. You have to be prepared. Think of a great restaurant. When you go in to have lunch, or let's say you go in to have a nice dinner with your spouse or with your girlfriend or boyfriend. You go in, you're going to have a nice dinner. You sit down. Give me we have a place here where we go for ribs. Give me the rack of ribs. I guarantee they didn't make it 15 minutes before you walked in the door. They prepared that and cooked it all day and got it ready because that's their craft. This is our craft. Don't dumb it down. Don't make it, they say the KISS rule, keep it simple, stupid. That's what we used in the military. Keeping photography simple is keeping it pre-planned. Don't dumb it down. You are a professional. If somebody's going to be handing you a $3,000 check, you better have some scruples in your head of what to do with that. So make sure you pre-plan. That's what we're talking about there, is pre-planning. And if you don't pre-plan, don't ever go out and say, where'd you learn photography? Oh, the photography guy on the internet. Nope, I'm not associated with you. I'm associated with you guys. It's greatness. That's what we talk about. Do ask what the couple wants. This is very important. One time I went out thinking I'm going to do a traditional wedding. And what happened was, What happened with my traditional wedding, it became what they call now a non-traditional wedding. Now, if you've never done a non-traditional wedding, it will totally blow your mind. It will totally mess up your whole entire day, because a non-traditional wedding is just that. There's no formals. They don't want formal pictures. Now, mom might, remember Momzilla? Momzilla might want some formal pictures because she's old school. Grandpa and grandma might want a couple with the bride. You're going to take those. Most of the pictures you're going to take that day are candid shots. Very important to get all the candid shots. Remember, we can't redo a wedding. Most people don't want to redo their wedding anyway. Of course, I have shot some renewed wedding vows, but anyway. All right. Do know the agenda. Learn in advance how the day will flow. You need to know what is going on and what's going to happen in the order that it might, so you can possibly be in the right place at the right time. Be sure to find out, for example, what classic moments like the first kiss, the first dance, and the cake cutting will occur. Let me tell you something there about that. I'm going to give you some background of a wedding that we did. For some reason, I didn't ask for it. Most times when you do a wedding, obviously the priest, the pastor, the rabbi will take care of the church stuff. They know the flow of the wedding. They handle all that. They are your MC at the wedding. Talk to these people. If you're doing a Catholic wedding, a lot of priests that I ran into, for some reason, and I don't even know if it's the priest, I think it's the Catholic Church way of doing things. They don't want you on the altar during the ceremony, so your shots will be from a pew shooting up to the bride and the groom. I like most times to be shooting back because I like to have the congregation or the guests as my backdrop when I'm shooting kissing shots and whatever. Sometimes you don't get that at a Catholic wedding. Make sure you talk to the priest, the pastor, rabbi, or whoever is performing the ceremony. Say, what am I allowed to do? Where can I go? And what can I do, during this wedding to not be disruptive? Another thing, try not to be disruptive. You don't want to be the center of attention. You don't want to trip over the altar. You don't want to be tripping over the candles that were lit and setting the altar on fire. These are all bad things that could happen. You don't want to do that. So, and make sure, the one thing I liked, one wedding we did, they had a wedding planner. And I said, boy, that's probably the biggest waste of money I've ever seen in my life, was to have a wedding planner. Like, you can't figure it out on your own. People have been planning weddings for millions of years. Back in the caveman days, one would hit the one on the head, and the other would crack the other one on the head, and you'd have a wedding. You'd be married. But the truth about it is, if you do have a wedding planner, it is fantastic because they are the MC of the whole thing. They know everything. They will give you an agenda, and it will say, hey, this is what's going to happen all these different times. So they will have that laid out for you. The one thing that happened to us at one wedding we did, we thought the DJ is normally supposed to be your MC at the reception. They know that. That's what they get paid to do. They want to MC. They've been to a lot of weddings. They know how it should flow. We were there, and we were watching guests leaving. We started watching guests start walking away. Because older people, when they go to a wedding, here's what they do. They go to the wedding. They watch the wedding. They cry. They wipe their eyes. Okay, big deal. They leave the wedding. They go to the reception. They go to the reception. They wait around a little bit. They get some drinks in them, hopefully. They eat some cookies, and they get the dip and the chips or whatever, and they snack on the hors d'oeuvres because they're waiting for the wedding party to get there. Once the wedding party shows up, what happens then? They want to eat. They don't want to have all this stuff, but they got to listen to the best man talk. They got to listen to the maid of honor talk, and then they're going to sit down and eat. Older people like to eat. They leave their present on the table. They leave their card in the wishing well, whatever, and they want to go home. Right? They got to get home. You got stuff like Geritol you got to take. You got stuff you got to do at home. You might have to take the dog out or something. Who knows? Anyway, everybody started leaving. So what happened was I became the MC. I went to the bride and I said, hey, you need to cut that cake. We need to have the first dance. We need to have the bridal dance because the bridal dance will bring you a little bit extra money for your wedding. And that's just the way it works. When everybody leaves, they take all their dollars with them. That's just the way it works. Now, I'm not there to make the money. I'm there to make sure the wedding flows okay. I didn't want that job, but I did. So we cut the cake, and everybody got to take a piece of cake home. Perfect. That's what we wanted to do. All right. Anyway, I don't want this show to go over too long here, and I'm just babbling on. So you can become the MC of the show. That does happen. Be careful. You don't want to become the MC of the show. I mean, the wedding. But know the agenda anyway. Now, don't. This is one that I stress, and folks, I've talked about this on this show so many times, I think I'm going to just drill it into your head. Don't be afraid to use a high ISO. It is better. It is better to take it is better to take great pictures, great sharp pictures, and make sure they're sharp by shooting at a higher ISO. Sometimes you can shoot a ISO as high as 6400. All right. So don't be afraid to shoot that. We've talked about that a lot. I always say it's better to get the shot and worry about the noise later. You can always fix the noise up. Let's see here. No, don't. Don't be shy about directing your subjects. This about killed me one time. They want to be told how and where to stand. They do. They expect that to happen. They want people to be directed. One time at a wedding, it almost killed me of getting the next wedding, because when you do one wedding, your hope and your dream is, and it doesn't always happen, is to get all that family's weddings that they're going to have. So that is what you would like to do. And that doesn't always happen with me either. Even people I work with have went with other people, and that's just the nature of the business. I used to get really hurt and really let down by that. But anymore, like I said, if I do a wedding, fine. If I don't, that's fine also, because they're not fun to do. They're just not a good time. You do make a lot of money at it, but it's just not a good time. But you got to direct people where to go. It started being that the audience was, the family was telling people on the altar where to be and where to stand. You are that person. You are the expert photographer. And we're going to talk one day about posing and how to pose people, because that's your job. You can see the light coming in. If there's a glare on somebody's glasses, and you have to guide that to happen. So, and you'll get better with that over time, but you have to be a little aggressive. Don't be as aggressive as, don't go up there and grab grandma up and slam her to the floor and say, it'll look better if you lay down on the floor, and kick the bride or something and say, throw your dress up in the air. No. But be aggressive enough so you can get people moving around. My rule is, this is a rule that I have, because the first one I shot with my wife, I took a long time to take people out of the shot. So my idea now is I set a tripod up. If you're not in the picture, you are behind my tripod, and I make that perfectly clear to everybody. If your small child runs up front, if somebody gets in front and they do it twice, then you have to be removed and ejected from the church. It's like the NFL game. You're ejected. You can't play by the rules, because I don't want to remove all those. We talked about already, use the best equipment you possibly can use. Don't try to do it alone. You need aiming that off-camera flash. Enlist friends or a relative. Take somebody with you. Like I said, my wife did a lot with me. My oldest stepdaughter did a wedding with me. If nothing else, it's for somebody to hold that speed light and guide that speed light, where you may need it to be. That is very critical. Help you with setting things up. My wife would help with the dresses. She would help, set the dress and stuff up a certain way, because she can see things. Women can see things that men sometimes do not see. Preset your camera. We talked about that. Make sure you're capturing camera at high resolution JPEGs. You can. Good luck with that one. I would suggest to do it on RAW. You can set your camera on auto white balance. I would suggest taking a gray card with you and doing some custom white balances. It's just anything to make less editing later on. When I come home, I usually have anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 pictures, especially if we have two cameras going. So 1,500 pictures is a long time editing, because you have to look at everything. Now, the bride and the groom will only see 400 of those. That's my policy. I present about 400. If it's 405, so be it. That happens. But that is my way of doing things. Shoot a lot. Now, I don't believe in that. I don't like shooting a lot because when you shoot a lot, what's happening is you're it's called the the spray and pray. That used to be a military thing. When we had an M60 machine gun, if I opened it up and just started cracking the bullets off, chances are I'm going to hit somebody downrange. But we don't want to do that with photography. Look at your shot, make sure it's focused. So don't just snap, 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 snap. Don't do that. But take a lot. I understand where you're going to take a lot of pictures. Usually what I get when I come home is more dance floor pictures than what I really would ever want to use. Because every couple goes up. When they're doing the bridal dance, everybody dances with the bride you have. And the reason I do that, one time, I mean, you don't know a lot of people at the wedding. One time the bride called me later and said, "Oh, Jack, I hope you have this picture. I was dancing with Uncle Joe." I'm like, I don't know who Uncle Joe is. Well, when she explained it, I found it. Now, here, Uncle Joe was very, very important to their family. Somehow it helped their family through hard times. And she really, really had, nice feelings for the guy. And she really wanted to cherish that picture. So I did have it. Now, I didn't present it to him first with the package, but I did have it. And she ended up buying it. So that's good. Don't shoot with unfamiliar gear. I did this once. That will kill you. I bought a brand new camera. A week later, I took it to the wedding. Not a good idea. If you buy a brand new camera, leave that one home and take your old one. That's a better idea. So don't shoot with unfamiliar gear. Do get reactions. A classic moment like the bride coming down the aisle or the first kiss. Turn your lenses on the guests and capture the friends and family. This is very important. If the bride is getting the first kiss and you take a picture of the bride's mom and she's doing a grimace like, "Roar," well, chances are she probably don't like your new husband very much. Anyway, so be very careful with that. Take some shots of them, though, just to see what they are reacting, like what they are doing. When they are walking down the aisle, we talked a little bit ago about timing. I put a piece of masking tape at the end of the pew where I want them to stop. And I tell them, when you come here, you pause until you see 2 flashes. Boom, boom. And then you can start walking again. So many people want to run down the aisle. They think it's a race. It's a race to the front. Like, it's not, it's not the Amazing Race. There's not $1 million at the end of that runway. Believe me, maybe negative million because you're going to lose some money. But for the wedding, but you're not going to win any money when you come down that aisle. And you're going to be just as married, 20 minutes later than 20 minutes before. So it's more important that they stop. They look at you. And you definitely, when they're coming down, don't be on, "Oh, say smile." You don't want to do that. Say cheese. No. They know what to do. People, when you point a camera at somebody, they know to look as happy as they can possibly look. It's the international sign. Just like I always said, the international language is a pistol. If you point a pistol at anybody, it's the international language. They will stop moving. Cameras the same way. You point a lens at somebody, they will stop. They will kind of smile a little bit. That's what we do. That's international languages. So that's how it works. So yeah, make sure that they do stop at a certain point so you can get their reactions. Don't skimp on batteries or memory cards. My goodness, this is a big one for me. Memory cards and batteries are huge. And the reason they're so huge is you need to have 2 memory cards. 3 would be better. 2 would be the best. Or no, 2 is better. 3 is best. The reason you want to have 2 memory cards is we shoot one at the wedding and we take that out of the camera and we put it aside. And then we put a new fresh one in for the reception. Why do I do that? Because I don't want all my pictures on one memory card. I trust them. I believe in them. When I first started shooting weddings, we carried a laptop. I would take that wedding, and by the time we got in the car, as we were driving to the reception, my wife was copying those pictures onto the hard drive of the laptop. And because then we had them on the laptop, we had them on the memory card, and then I would have her burn a CD in the car to have a CD because I was really crazy about this stuff. Now I do believe in my memory cards, and I say the memory card is fine, just do that, but make sure you have enough. Don't run out of batteries. You're not going to stop in the wedding and say, "Wait, hold it. Don't kiss that bride. I got to run to the Rite Aid drugstore down the street and buy some AAA batteries. Hold on." Wrong. Bad timing. You buy 2 new packs of 18 AA batteries. I don't care if they do cost you $45. We are professionals. We spend money to have the right gear. If you're going to scrimp on batteries, stay home and let somebody else shoot the wedding because you're not ready to do that. You're not prepared. spend some money. Batteries will last a long time anyway. And remember, like I just said, back up extensively. Back up those pictures. When you get home, back them up on your home computer before you start editing. Very critical to back up those pictures. I back up the originals. I back those up to an external hard drive. I want the original untouched raw images. And then I start working on my edits. Don't worry about a shoot list. I don't know. Avoid getting married to a must-have shoot list. I don't really believe that's a don't. I think that's a do. I do have a shoot list. And a shoot list is a predetermined list of shots that I like to get at every wedding. The only time that bit me in the butt was a non-traditional wedding when they want more candids. But I do use a shoot list, and I do send that with my I don't call it a contract anymore. I call it an agreement. A contract sounds too formal. I like agreement. It still means the same thing basically in life, but it just sounds nicer. But when I send my agreement to the bride and the groom, I always send a shoot list with them. These are the normal shots that I do, and there's a bunch of blank spaces at the end where they can add shots to there. Have fun capturing the treasured wedding moments. That's a big thing. Have fun doing it. That's a great time. All right, folks, so thank you very much for tuning into this show today. Hopefully we helped you a little bit. And I always said weddings are not for the weak at heart. Weddings are tough, man. Weddings are really, really tough. Believe me. It's not even the equipment, because you'll have equipment over time, but weddings are hard in general because you're always moving. You're up and down. Be physically fit. If you go out there and you're 350 pounds and you're overweight, you're not going to shoot a wedding. It's just really, really hard work, and people don't believe it. And we'll talk one time. I think one time in the past we talked about the agreements, also known as contracts, how to write those, how you should word them. I even put my agreement out there before, so folks can have a copy of mine, and you can by all means use it. Just change the names in there and you can use it as your own. I don't care. That's fine. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're downloading this show from iTunes, please watch and subscribe to my YouTube videos at 42 Technoman. The number 4, the number 2 Technoman. I still have my DVD collections available, and you can find those at jackstechcorner.com. A lot of you have been picking those up. Thank you very much. It helps when you support this show, because then it helps to bring more of these shows to you. Just a simple way it works. I do have the new online learning site. If you want to sign up for that, I would greatly appreciate you do so. But if you're going to sign up, remember, go all the way and pay for the course and take the course. That's at jtclearning.com. jtclearning.com. Sign up today and begin learning Photoshop Elements 12. Just go to the top of the page, click on Courses, and then Photography. And that's at jtclearning.com. Remember, for listening to this show and checking me out here each and every week, I am giving to you a coupon code. That coupon code is JTC with the number 5. JTC number 5. You will receive $5 off. See, I want to be easy on your wallet. Easy on your wallet and good for your head. A lot of knowledge going in there. Once again, that's jtclearning.com. jtclearning.com. Take care, everybody. Have a great work week. Man, thank you so much for joining me here. Thanks for downloading these shows and keeping me like number 3 or number 4 on iTunes, and keeping us up there on the rankings of YouTube. I appreciate that, and it very much humbles me. Till next time, keep those shutters clicking, keep your editors editing, and get out there and shoot a wedding or two. Y'all have a good time. Talk to you guys later. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning into The Photography Guy. I am a photography guy, and I'll be here once again next time for more photography tips and tricks. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the show and enjoy the music.